How's it going, everyone? This is Mike, and I'm here to do a contest response video for my friend Bobby Gass. Hi, Bobby, who has just acquired, or recently acquired, 1,111 subscribers, 1111. So he's sponsoring a contest in celebration of that amount. Congratulations, Bobby. And I'm doing this in front of Bobby's favorite lava lamp, which he always comments on when I do my videos in the other room. So I thought I'd give you a close-up look today. Anyway, Bobby, for those of you who don't know who Bobby Gass is, because most of the people I communicate nowadays are not with the vinyl community, but rather with the film collecting community. So a lot of you may not know Bobby Gass, but Bobby lives way up in Canada. Same thing. Bobby lives up in Canada in a log cabin next to a frozen lake. A lake that was frozen since 1840, and I think Bobby moved there in 1845. And like all other Canadians, he has a pet moose that keeps him company and lives inside the cabin. So sorry, Bobby, couldn't resist. So Bobby is a very knowledgeable guy about music, especially really old music. He digs up a lot of stuff that I've never heard of, but he brings back a lot of memories too. He also knows a lot about films. In fact, he comments on several of my videos when I talk about movies, knows a lot about old films. And in fact, he turned me on to a film a couple of years ago that I had heard of, but I never took the time to watch. It's called The Train, and it stars Burt Lancaster. Fantastic movie, so I will always be grateful to Bobby for turning me on to that film. So anyway, Bobby has a contest, and I should have written down all the rules, but I think I remember what they are. And the first one is that he wants us to talk about our three favorite Canadians. And let's see, three favorite Canadians, and then show a record by at least one of them. So, well, now I don't know. I haven't watched anybody else's response videos yet, so I don't know if you wanted it to only be Canadian musicians. Maybe you did, but my favorite Canadian at this present moment, outside of Justin Trudeau, I'm kidding, happens to be this brilliant man, Jordan Peterson, who wrote this wonderful book that I'm now in the middle of reading. It's called 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos. Jordan Peterson is a clinical psychologist and also a professor, I believe, at the University of Toronto, and he's been very controversial recently for some of his stands about social issues, and I think the guy is brilliant, and I don't know, right now he's one of the people that I spend hours and hours and hours watching on YouTube. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot. The first rule was to talk about our favorite Bobby videos, so I'll just let this stand for where it is. We'll get back to my favorite Canadians later. Okay, so Bobby puts out a lot of videos. He's one of these guys that puts out maybe 25 videos a week. That's an exaggeration. I'm all about hyperbole today. Actually, he only puts out about maybe 10 or 15 videos a week, but I have to admit I have a hard time keeping up with everybody's videos on YouTube, especially people who put out a lot of stuff. Most of the time I'm watching my various conspiracy theory videos and all kinds of esoteric stuff, and it's really hard to keep up with people, even the people that I have in my sort of close-knit group. So Bobby, I apologize to you and everybody else out there for whose videos I'm not able to keep up with everyone. But Bobby does bring up a lot of really good old music, and I saw one recently. I'm not sure exactly how long ago it came up. He played this old record that I remember when I was a kid. It's a record by Pat Boone, of all people, whom I've never been a big fan of, but he is a good singer. It's a record called Moody River, which came out in 1961. And I remember this song. Wow, it's just one of the earliest songs that I heard on the radio that just stuck in my head for the rest of my life. And for a long time, I never knew what the name of this record was. I just heard it once on the radio. I remember being in a car with my dad and the guy that lived next door and his son, who was my best friend, and I think we were all going fishing or something like that. And the song came on. It has this incessant piano hook that just plays over and over again in the song. It's a terrific little song, kind of a country folk song. I don't even know if it was a huge hit back in 1961, but so I heard it recently when Bobby played it, and wow, so now I finally knew who did that record, so I was very grateful for that. So thank you for that, Bobby. Anyway, getting back to my favorite Canadians, so yeah, Jordan Peterson. But musically, I like several artists, which I'm sure a lot of other people are already talking about. But for example, I'll show you this record by the Guess Who. Can't go wrong with these guys. I mean, Shakin' All Over. You know, what's wrong with that, right? And have a lot of records by Joni Mitchell, but this is absolutely my number one, which I bought back in the day when it first came out, and I have played this record to death. I took this off the shelf today because I haven't played it in a long time, and I was afraid to look at the disc because I have a feeling it's probably unplayable by now, but I'm going to give it a shot later on. Great tunes like Tin Angel, Chelsea Morning, let's see, The Gallery. I don't have my glasses on, which is why I can't read all the titles, but I should know all these by now. Songs for Aging Children Come, and finally her own version of a song she wrote, Both Sides Now, which of course became a big hit on the radio with a version by Judy Collins, but I much prefer the version done by Joni Mitchell. So yeah, big fan of Joni Mitchell. I also have a lot of records by Neil Young, and this is one of my favorites, which I don't hear a lot of people talking about. This is a record called Trance, which came out in 1982. And no, it has nothing to do with the modern day transgender movement. Neil Young at the time was trying to find a way to communicate with his young son, Ben, who was born with very severe cerebral palsy, and he was not able to speak. So he was trying to find ways, and through music and through electronic devices, to communicate with Ben. So he did this record where some of it he sings in a normal fashion. He uses his band Crazy Horse, and then others he uses a vocoder. I guess that's what it's called. I looked this up on Wikipedia, and it gives his voice an electronic sound. So supposedly he did all his music with Crazy Horse, and then he kind of synthesized some of it, which did not make the members of Crazy Horse very happy. But he also does a sort of an updated electronic version of his old Buffalo Springfield song, Mr. Soul. So that's very cool. It's very much like Kraftwerk, that kind of music that was coming out then, the electronic music by Giorgio Moroder and Donna Summer, and I like it because I always like that kind of music. In fact, I guess Neil Young was a big fan of Kraftwerk, so yeah, Trance. Like this record very much. Okay, so I think that's all the rules. I hope so. Quoting Shakespeare, right? Okay, now, here we go. Where is Shakespeare? Oh, Shakespeare's over here. So I'll take you to my old collection of Shakespeare, which I've had since high school, I think. I'm not sure. But you said quote Shakespeare. You didn't say memorize. And if I misunderstood that, I apologize. But I'm not very good at memorizing Shakespeare anymore, although back in the day I could do it. I'd like to read you one of my favorite Shakespeare sonnets. Well, it is my favorite, my number one. It's sonnet number 29. And I used to have this memorized back 1,000 years ago, but now I'm going to have to use my little cheat sheet book here. So here we go. When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy, contented least. Yet in these thoughts myself almost despising, haply I think on thee, and then my state, like to the lark at break of day arising from sullen earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love, remembered, such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings. Okay? All right. Hope that follows all the rules. Bobby, thanks very much for having this contest. I'm partial to the Bay City Rollers, if you'd like to keep that in mind. So anyway, once again, congratulations on your subscribers, and I will talk to you soon.